Hey, welcome back to the Infinite Woman Universe Show. I am your host, Angela, and today we are diving into how to overcome self-sabotage and restart. So if you are a solo line service provider or trauma coach, make sure you stay tuned because we're talking about how to bounce back from self-sabotage. Hey, I'm Angela, trauma healer and self-sabotage slayer. I help solo line service providers and trauma coaches slay self-sabotage so they can embody freedom, live on their terms, and do business their way. And today we are talking all about how to bounce back from self-sabotage. Because let's face it, there's so much out there on like how to slay it, how to, what else do I say? Like how to deal with procrastination and hesitation and how to know if you're self-sabotaging, things like that. And I really want to talk about what to do when you realize that you have self-sabotaged and what to do next. And if you're anything like me, self-sabotage is not procrastination, okay? It's not hesitation. And not that those things aren't self-sabotage, they absolutely are. But, I've had a lot of trauma, a ton of trauma. And so my self-sabotage is we're gonna destroy everything in my path, totally and completely self-destruct. And so if you resonate with that, this is really for you. Because the truth is that you can easily bounce back from procrastination and hesitation and other things. I am talking about deep, hardcore sabotage that you do that has ultimately ruined or shifted your life in ways that you weren't anticipating. So while I have you, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It just helps me expand my community, and I am so grateful for you and you spending your time and energy with me. I know that you can be doing other things, so I'm just so appreciative of you. Also, there's another thing that I have to point out. I wasn't sure about wearing this dress. I know that we've come huge into body acceptance and things like that. And I can constantly work on accepting my body. I have fluctuated. I have sabotaged my weight. And I've done that a lot. And so I have been losing weight, but showing my stomach potentially to the whole world is super uncomfortable. Let me know. I know that this is irrelevant, but let me know in the comments if you still feel weird, showing your stomach or showing off certain body parts, in public, even if you have lost weight or even if you do love yourself. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. But let's really dive into why we are here. We are here to talk about how to bounce back or what to do so that you can actually bounce back from self-sabotage. Again, this is super important because I don't feel like anybody talks about this, so I want to make this really clear. This is after you've realized that you're self-aware, right? After you've realized you've really fucked up, what do you do now that you've realized that you have really and truly messed up? And before I'm going to get into how to bounce back, there are you must know that if you're not healing from your trauma and you're not learning unhealthy childhood conditioning, and as a trauma coach and a solo line service provider, if you're not doing business your way, these three things, you're going to sabotage. It's going to be inevitable. And it sucks that it's going to be that way. I would love to tell you that you can just ignore your trauma and everything's going to be cool, but it's not. It doesn't actually work that way. So please keep those in mind as we are talking about these things, because these three tips or whatever that I'm going to give you, they are connected to healing your trauma and unlearning and doing business your way. Not really doing business your way, but definitely the latter two. Number one, you must allow yourself to let go. I know that this sounds really crazy because we just realized that we self-sabotage. Now we are so focused on everything that you self-sabotaged, right? What you've sabotaged, this and this and this and this. And all of a sudden there's this rabbit hole that you can dive into letting go is by far one of the most powerful things that you can do, because by letting go, it allows you to move on. It completely allows you to shift, and so that you can actually start over. Now, with that being said, this is a lot easier said than done. It takes a ton of practice in surrender to be able to fully and completely let go. I don't know if I have a video on that. If I do have a video on that, you'll see it right here. I'll have to check. But you want to let go. And again, I understand. This is you're okay, so easy for you to say, trust me, I get it. The reason why I held on to my sabotage for so long is because I wouldn't let it go. And ultimately that was about forgiveness, which is a different subject, and we can get into that later. But you have to let go. There's no other option. And I know that that's going to be a practice. The second thing that you want to do is you want to rest and reconnect with yourself. Look, depending on what it is that your sabotage looked like, and if it looked anything like mine, where you completely sabotaged an entire business to hide from an abusive ex, because you thought that you weren't supposed to go through that, because you completely didn't listen to yourself, there's a lot weighing on you. There's a lot with your nervous system going on. There's a lot with burnout potentially going on. You just have a lot going on. And especially if you have the abusive ex connected to it, right? You want to make sure that you are resting so much, because you are probably feeling exhausted. You are feeling trapped and stuck, and no matter what you do, you can't get yourself out of this. And this is where the let go part comes into play. But you want to make sure that you are resting and you're reconnecting with yourself. And you want to be sure that you're doing these things, because rest leads to being able to connect with your desires, connect with what it is that you truly want. It allows you to come into ease, to come into peace, so that you are able to reestablish yourself and really get your footing again. And the third thing you want to do is allow yourself to feel. I know that this sounds so crazy, but when you sabotage yourself, there is so much failure involved. There is so much abandonment involved, and rejection and shame and humility involved. And I know that everybody wants to talk about how, rejection is just a redirection, and what else do they say? I don't know. They just say so. And failure is not really failure. The truth is that there are still feelings involved. Okay, there is feelings involved, especially if you have essentially failed in front of your audience, if you've essentially failed in front of the world, right? Because if you had a coaching business and you sabotaged it and it retracted and it's back to where you started from, or worse from where you started from, that feels like failure. There's no way around that. And so for the gurus and the experts to try to dismiss your feelings so that you can get back at it is one of the worst things that you can buy into. You have to allow yourself to feel all the shame, feel all the guilt, feel all of the embarrassment, feel all of the humility, feel all of everything else that goes with that, especially the failure. Because if you don't allow yourself to feel this way, you are going to, guess what, eventually sabotage again, because you didn't fully allow yourself to grieve. You didn't fully allow yourself to heal. And these are going to be critical to your ability to step up and be the best version of you this next time around, because it is possible for you to be this next version of you this next time around. But you must do all of these things first, especially feel whatever it is that you feel, because you will go through grief. I know that people think that that's wild, and most people think grief is associated to loss, but you've lost a version of yourself. You might have lost your business. You might have lost friendships, a relationship, who knows, right? The list could go on and on and on about what you have potentially lost. So you want to be aware of how you feel and allow yourself to completely feel. If you struggle with any of this, this is actually a sign that you want to go back to basics. You want to start healing from your trauma. You want to start unlearning unhealthy childhood conditioning. And then once you've kind of mastered those two, then you want to start doing business your way and really connecting with that part of it. But you want to make sure that you're allowing yourself to let go. You have to let it go. I know that it's hard to do this, but you've got to let it go. You've got to allow yourself to rest and reconnect with yourself, because it's going to make the rebuilding part so much easier. And lastly, you've got to allow yourself to heal, or to feel, so that you can heal and let these things go. If you are struggling with bouncing back from self-sabotage, this is what I help my clients do. I help my clients bounce back from self-sabotage so that they can call in their soulmate clients, so that they can redeem themselves from the sabotage that they've experienced before. And we are talking so much deeper than procrastination and hesitation. If you are dealing with those things, I promise you there's something else going on. And if you want to deal with it now and you want to bounce back and redeem yourself and feel like you again, this is for you. I take one-to-one. You can check it out. Just message me. However you want to connect with me, I'm open. And this is what I have for you. Make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. I would love to know about how you feel about, showing your midriff or whatever. And it has nothing to do with controversy or anything. I want to know how you personally feel about sharing it after you've been maybe conditioned your whole life that you're not supposed to do that. Love to hear from you. Leave it in the comments. But anyway, I will see you next week, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.